Senegalese authorities have restored mobile internet services after violent clashes left 16 people dead. The protests followed the sentencing of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko, a declared candidate in the 2024 presidential election. Now, he's facing 2 years behind bars for corrupting youth. It comes as more and more young people are speaking out about the political crisis in this West African country. 55% of Senegal's population is under 20. Our correspondent Nicolas Négoce spoke to two popular young Senegalese influencers.
There are some who work with the internet. There are no more transactions, we can say, because some people don't understand how the VPNs work. Restricting networks, cutting the internet, it's going to cause more frustration for young people. The solution is not to cut the internet off, but to solve the problems that we face as Senegalese people.
Whether it is my brother, my mother, my friends or others, we are all on the same side. Influencers, public figures, this situation plunges the country into a disastrous situation. And this is not normal. It is unacceptable.
And during the clashes, the presence of armed civilians has been confirmed by some observers, including Amnesty International Senegal. But who were those men? The BBC's Nicolas Négoce asked the question to Aliou Sow, the Minister of Culture, appointed by the government to address the media about the unrest. He gave his thoughts on the recent violence and insisted President Macky Sall could run for a third term.
What is going on is the expression of an attempt of conquering power through anarchy and terror.
I spoke to many experts and they were all surprised with this condemnation, telling me that for them it's a way to prevent him from running for the next presidential election. What do you have to say about that?
Not at all. We cannot control the judiciary's institutions.
But you know that many people, many Senegalese think that.
No, not many. Some of his supporters, they think so. Other people also, they have the right to think so. But how can we politically take decisions at the place of the justice? It's not possible. Let me tell you two things. We had less than 1 year ago our parliament elections. Our majority is not that strong. If we could manipulate the justice, we cannot be in such a situation. If we could manipulate the justice, how would that guy can be sentenced and condemned for corruption of the youth, which is immoral and even ridicule and very informative on the bad values of that person instead of rape. So it has meant that we cannot impose nothing through, the judiciary. Senegal is a nation where the separation of powers does exist.
The opposition said
yes,
that you hired mercenaries on many videos on social networks. It was possible to see young men fighting.
It's totally false. It's not true.
Who are they?
It's totally false. Let me tell you.
Who are those guys?
All nations of the world can recognize one thing. Senegal armed forces, police and gendarmerie are very professional. We in President Sall invest a lot for the conditions and for their professional activities. Worldwide, we are invited, but we are labeled as being great professionals. And this situation is contained and then mastered by our forces, security and defense forces. We don't need, and will never need that, to hire mercenaries or foreigners or unofficial forces against our people. But what happened is, they use their political supporters to threat people, to destroy people's goods, to burn houses, and to, burn cars and everything, and then universities. And at a certain level of that violence, in many areas of this nation, some youths are organized in groups to secure the areas and say they will no longer let people come and destroy professional cars, and they could ever use their pistols, but never against the population.
I have a last question. Your former Prime Minister Aminata Touré has told the BBC that the responsibility for the unrest lies with the president because people don't want him to run for a third term and because he's seen as harassing opposition politicians and looking at protesters. So she thinks that the ball is in the president's court. If he said that he wasn't running for a third term and allowed the opposition to operate freely, the unrest would end. Do you think it's a possibility?
Let me tell you one thing. President Sall is leading this country because of the will of the majority of the Senegalese people. He's the leader of a coalition of hundreds of parties.
Already. You would like, Mr. Minister, to see the president running for a third term?
Let me tell you, our coalition, we want him to run. And he has the right to run. The opposition knows it.